has this picture of Jesus, and I was just like aware of how beautiful he is, and also how he's often depicted very Europeanized and like
Mm-hmm.
historic. That's probably not accurate. So I like drew him how I thought he might have accurately looked, and it's not in this exact book. Otherwise, I'd show you that page. However, those were the two first drawings that I did, and as he was speaking, I was listening to him speak, and I felt so moved by everything. And we do this like open Q&A, and he just, he just like looked at me, and I looked at him, and it was the first time I thought maybe in my life that I felt like, and I'm sorry, Mom, because I know you're watching this, but it was like the first time I thought anyone really like saw me. Not like me as the identity me, or the different versions of me, or any role I might play in the world, but like saw my
Mm-hmm.
existence
Yeah.
is just like an extension of the divine at that
Mm-hmm.
degree. It was like the first time I really fully felt that. It doesn't mean it's the first time anyone looked at me that way. It's the first time I felt it and received that. And it meant so much to me. And that was before we even spoke. So we had a literal heart to heart, because we both
Mm-hmm.
like put our hands on our heart, in that moment. And I asked, like, okay, you're an author and you've changed so many lives through your creation. And I draw and I write. And I just feel like I'm here to share something with the world and make a big difference. And what advice would you have for me? And he just said, just keep drawing and just keep writing. And one day, the right person in the right moment will ask you, hey, have you ever thought of publishing that? And you'll say, like, yeah, I have. I actually asked Michael Singer about this. Like, or you didn't say that part, I'm adding that. And and then that moment, it'll just evolve, and
Mm-hmm.
what is meant to be with it, it will be. And if you feel that it's supposed to make a big impact, I bet you it probably is. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is the prototype of the book. It's the original copy of the book that is called Thank You, Dammit. And it is Carina's Corona Diary. It is my journal from January 1st of 2020 to the rest of that year. And it documented the entire pandemic without expecting it. It documented a lot of my own healing journey, on a very anecdotal level, and also on
Mm-hmm.
a very metaphysical, expansive level. And so it's very delicate. I drew it, I took it everywhere with me, like everywhere. And it talks about our collective
Mm-hmm.
pain and the consciousness of our pain body, and how that permeates out, and our evolution, and just so many things. And so it felt very sacred to me that in my surrendering, as I say that, I look at the word surrender,
Mm-hmm.
a little synchronicity. It felt very profound to me that in my surrendering, and in my stepping
Mm-hmm.
into my womanhood, and in my vulnerability of asking that question and shedding my ego in that beautiful temple space, I had the blessing of a man who had changed my life and so many others' lives for the best, just by, going and sharing about those things and embracing that. And I think he talks about this in the book, but I don't know how much you know. He was literally like going through hell during writing that book. Did you know this?
Which one of the two?
The Untethered Soul.
Mm-hmm. He speaks a little bit about it in the surrendering experiment.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he was literally like he had a partner in his company embezzle like majority of the money, and then they're in this like lawsuit, and all of these crazy things are happening. And he just was like chilling about it, even though he wasn't, obviously. He learned so much about his consciousness in that. And I think it's so profound. And I resonate deeply with that, because that was where I was when I was creating this. and it was not fully
Mhm.
um, um, easy, but it was a channeling of something that was deep because it was the aligned resonant truth. And that's what we
Mhm.
call art. That's the
Mhm.
aligned resonant truth. And so, yeah, that's like a little bit of my story about that. I knew that you were like, what? You know him
Mhm.
and you met him and you've been there and what? And I'm like, yeah, girl, let's go.
Mhm. Yes, like moving here, I think it was probably, I love every single page.
I'll show you the
It's
the full one has like 100 more pages. You'll see. You see
um
here?
so moving here, that was probably the first book that I picked up to read. I remember I started reading Akatar, going back to Akatar. I started reading Akatar during quarantine, and
Mhm.
I read the first three books. And then during Christmas of 2021, I read the Christmas special. And then when I moved here, I couldn't get into reading Silver Flames,
Mm.
and I couldn't get into reading any book until one day I went into Barnes and Noble. I found this beautiful copy. I love this book so much. It's like so small and it fits everywhere. And I was like, you know what? I need to get this. I don't know why, but this speaks to me. So I'll go ahead and I'll buy it. And that was the first book that I read moving to the US. And it was just like a beautiful journey, and it became a part of my morning routine where I would get on the train and